Part 1, First Contact in the Frost. Commander Nikolai Volkov squinted through the howling blizzard, his thermal imaging barely penetrating the curtain of white. The massive structure before him defied explanation, geometric patterns carved into ice-covered metal that had to be thousands of years old. His expedition team had discovered it just hours ago, buried deep within Glacier 7's perpetual winter. Readings are off the charts, Commander. Lieutenant Rena Shah's voice crackled through his suit's comm. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. Nikolai pressed his gloved hand against the structure's surface, feeling a faint vibration. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now every nerve in his body screamed that they weren't alone. Fall back to defensive positions, he ordered, unholstering his pulse rifle. Something's dash. The ice beneath their feet shattered. Massive forms erupted from below, towering humanoids in crystalline armor, their 4 eyes gleaming with bioluminescence. The largest among them stood nearly 3 meters tall, its armor adorned with intricate markings that seemed to pulse with inner light. "Hold your fire!" Nikolai barked as his team raised their weapons. He recognized the stance of the aliens, warriors, yes, but disciplined. Their weapons remained lowered, though ready. The leader of the alien group stepped forward, its 4 eyes fixed intently on Nikolai. Through his translator, a deep, resonant voice emerged. "I am Drex, War Master of the Kryvax. You stand in our ancient holding. Explain your presence." Nikolai slowly lowered his rifle, maintaining eye contact. "Commander Nikolai Volkov, Earth Expeditionary Force. We're explorers, seeking knowledge of our galaxy's past. We mean no disrespect to your holding." Drexa's head tilted slightly, studying him with unsettling intensity. "Your words speak of peace, but your bearing, you are a warrior, Commander Nikolai Volkov. Your eyes hold the steel of one who has faced death and emerged stronger." "As do yours, War Master Drex," Nikolai replied evenly. "Perhaps that gives us common ground." A low rumble emerged from Drex. What Nikolai would later learn was the Kryvax equivalent of thoughtful consideration. "Common ground, yes. But trust must be earned. Among the Kryvax, we have a saying, the strongest ice forms slowly." Lieutenant Shah shifted nervously behind him, but Nikolai remained still. He recognized this moment for what it was, a test. Not of strength, but of understanding. "Then let us start with respect," Nikolai said. "We'll withdraw to our base camp, demonstrate we honor your territory. Perhaps you'll consider sharing knowledge of this place, its history. Both our peoples could benefit." Drexa's bioluminescent eyes pulsed brighter for a moment. "You surprise me, Commander. Few species we've encountered show such wisdom in their first contact. Most attempt displays of force or immediate negotiation. Force rarely leads to understanding," Nikolai responded. "And negotiation without respect is merely manipulation." The massive alien warrior stepped closer, towering over Nikolai. Any other human might have stepped back, but Nikolai held his ground. Through his visor, he could see intricate patterns flowing through Drexa's crystalline armor, not just decoration, but some form of living technology. "You will stay," Drex declared. "Not as intruders, but as guests. There is something approaching, Commander. Something that threatens all who dwell in this sector. Perhaps it is no coincidence that you have found us now." As if to emphasize Drexa's words, the ancient structure behind them pulsed with new energy, casting eerie patterns across the ice. Nikolai felt a chill that had nothing to do with the planet's brutal cold. He'd learned to trust his instincts, and right now they told him this was just the beginning of something far larger than a simple first contact. "We accept your hospitality, War Master," Nikolai said formally. "And whatever knowledge you're willing to share." "Knowledge," Drex rumbled, "and perhaps something more valuable, understanding. Come, Commander Nikolai Volkov. Let me show you why my people have guarded this place for 10,000 years. As Nikolai followed the towering warrior into the ancient structure, he couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was about to change. In the warrior's bearing, he recognized something familiar, not just strength, but purpose. Whatever threat Drex spoke of, humanity had just gained powerful potential allies. And it had all started with a moment of mutual recognition between warriors, there in the endless winter of Glacius 7. Would you like me to continue with part 2? Deep within the ancient Kryvax fortress, Commander Nikolai Volkov stood before a massive holographic display, watching as thousands of years of history played out before him. The crystalline technology pulsed with living light, showing scenes of battles against a darkness that devoured stars. The Void Swarm, War Master Drex explained, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. They hibernate for millennia, then awaken to consume entire sectors. Our ancestors built this network of fortresses to monitor their movements. Lieutenant Shah studied the readings on her handheld scanner. These energy signatures, they're similar to what we detected in the Helios sector last month. The strange gravitational anomalies. They're awakening again, Drex confirmed grimly. But there is resistance among my people to sharing our defensive technologies. Many believe humans are too young a species, too unpredictable. Nikolai noticed other Kryvax warriors watching from the shadows, their bioluminescent eyes reflecting doubt and suspicion. He recognized the political tension immediately. Drex was taking a risk by showing them this much. Among my people, Nikolai said carefully, trust is often earned through challenge. Is there a way I could prove humanity's worth to your council? The chamber grew absolutely still. Drex's 4 eyes pulsed with intense light. You would undertake the rite of Kjara? Few of our own warriors attempt it, and none from another species has ever survived. Tell me more, Nikolai replied, maintaining steady eye contact. Before Drex could respond, another Kryvax stepped forward, taller even than Drex, his armor bearing marks of high rank. I am Sovereign Protector Vex, he announced. And I forbid this. Humans are not ready. With respect, Sovereign Protector, Nikolai countered, that's not your decision to make. If your laws allow for the challenge, I have the right to attempt it. Vex's eyes narrowed. You do not understand what you ask, human. The rite of Kjara tests more than physical strength. It peers into your very essence. Many go mad from what they see. Then let my success or failure be the proof of humanity's readiness, Nikolai said firmly. If I fail, we leave with only what knowledge you've already shared. If I succeed, we forge a true alliance against the coming threat. A low murmur ran through the gathered Kryvax. Drex stepped closer to Nikolai, speaking quietly. The rite will push you beyond your limits, Commander. You will face your deepest fears, your darkest moments. Are you certain? Nikolai thought of Earth, of all the colonies scattered across human space, defenseless against the horror he'd just witnessed in the historical records. I'm certain. The ritual chamber was ancient, its walls covered in shifting patterns that seemed to reach into Nikolai's mind. He stood in the center, wearing only light combat gear. Around him, dozens of Kryvax had gathered to witness the challenge, including several members of their High Council. The rite of Kjara has 3 trials, Drex announced formally. Mind, spirit, and unity. Survive all 3, earn your place among us. Are you prepared, Commander Nikolai Volkov? I am, Nikolai replied, his voice steady despite the alien energies beginning to swirl around him. The first trial hit him like a physical blow. He found himself reliving his darkest combat memories, the loss of his first command, the colonies he'd failed to save, every death that weighed on his conscience. But instead of breaking him, the memories crystallized into resolve. He understood now, these weren't just failures, they were lessons that had shaped him. The second trial was subtler, more insidious. He felt his consciousness expanding, touching minds vast and ancient. The void between stars became a tangible thing, filled with threats his human mind could barely comprehend. Yet instead of madness, he found clarity. The universe was bigger than humanity imagined, but not beyond understanding. The final trial brought unity, not just with the Kryvax consciousness, but with something deeper. He saw the pattern of life itself, the delicate balance that bound all species together. The void swarm wasn't just an enemy, it was an absence, a negation of that fundamental harmony. When Nikolai's awareness returned to the chamber, he found himself standing, bloodied but unbowed. The gathered Kryvax were utterly silent, their eyes glowing with what he now recognized as astonishment. "Impossible," Vex whispered. "No non-Kryvax has ever." "Not impossible," Drex corrected, approaching Nikolai with newfound respect. "Prophesied. The ancient texts speak of a time when different species would unite against the darkness. Perhaps we have been too proud, too certain of our solitude." Nikolai swayed slightly, still adjusting to normal consciousness. Lieutenant Shah rushed forward to support him, her scanner showing readings that defied explanation. "The rite has changed you," Drex explained. "You now carry a piece of our collective consciousness. Through you, our peoples can truly understand each other." "Then let's make it count," Nikolai said, his voice hoarse but determined. "The void swarm is coming. We need to prepare." As the gathered Kryvax bowed their heads in acknowledgement, Nikolai felt the weight of what he'd achieved. This wasn't just about proving humanity's worth, it was about forging something new, a partnership that could face the darkness together. The challenge had been met, but the real test was just beginning. Dr. Amara Patel stood before the Earth Defense Council, her holographic presentation showing the incredible advances made possible by the Kryvax alliance. 3 months had passed since Commander Volkov's transformation through the Rite of Kjara, and the integration of human and Kryvax technology had exceeded all expectations. "The crystalline computing matrices they've shared with us," she explained, gesturing to a floating display, "don't just process information, they think. Each crystal contains centuries of accumulated knowledge, accessible through direct neural interface." Admiral Harrison leaned forward, his weathered face serious. "And the risks, Doctor? We're talking about connecting human minds to alien technology." "The risks are managed through the changes Commander Volkov's success made possible," Amara replied. "His transformed neural patterns serve as a bridge, allowing safer integration for other humans. We've already successfully trained 50 neural technicians." The room's atmosphere shifted as Commander Volkov himself entered, his presence somehow larger than his physical form. The rite had left subtle changes, a faint luminescence in his eyes during moments of stress, an otherworldly calm in his bearing. "Dr. Patel's work is crucial," Nikolai stated, his voice carrying that new resonance that seemed to touch minds as much as ears. "The void swarm advances faster than predicted. Our long-range sensors, enhanced by Kryvax technology, have detected their scout elements in the Karina sector." War Master Drex materialized next to him, the Kryvax's massive form drawing gasps despite the Council's growing familiarity with their allies. "Our ancestral records suggest we have perhaps 6 months before their main force arrives. The integration must be accelerated." Amara pulled up new data, showing the progress of the Joint Defense Initiative. "We've already begun retrofitting our orbital platforms with Kryvax shielding technology. The crystalline matrices enhance our reaction times 1,000-fold. But there's something else." She hesitated, knowing the impact her next revelation would have. "We've discovered that the Kryvax crystals respond differently to certain humans. Those with specific genetic markers show exponentially greater integration capabilities." "The resonant ones," Drex rumbled, his eyes pulsing with excitement. "Just as our prophecies foretold. Those whose minds can fully bridge the gap between our species." Admiral Harrison stood, his authority filling the room. "You're talking about deliberately modifying human beings, Doctor. This goes beyond military technology. With respect, Admiral, Nikolai interjected, I've experienced this integration firsthand. It doesn't change who you are, it expands what you can be. And right now, we need every advantage against what's coming. Amara brought up her final slides, showing the successful test results. The process is voluntary, reversible, and has shown no negative effects in any of our trials. More importantly, these enhanced interfaces allow us to operate Kryvak's weapon systems at full capacity. The council chamber erupted in discussion, but Amara noticed something more interesting: the way Drex and Nikolai exchanged glances, sharing some private understanding. The right hadn't just changed Nikolai, it had created something new, a true bridge between species. Later, in her laboratory deep beneath the Geneva Defense Complex, Amara worked with the latest volunteer for the integration process. Lieutenant Shaw's nervous excitement was palpable as she sat in the crystalline interface chamber. "You're sure about this?" Amara asked, adjusting the neural connectors. "Once initiated, the process takes several hours to complete." "I've served with Commander Volkov for years," Rena replied firmly. "I've seen how the integration has enhanced his abilities, his understanding. We need more people who can operate at that level." Drex observed from nearby, his massive form somehow fitting naturally into the human facility. "Your courage honors us, Lieutenant. The binding of our peoples grows stronger with each successful integration." As Amara initiated the procedure, watching the crystalline energy flow into Rena's neural pathways, she reflected on how far they'd come. 3 months ago, humans and Kryvaks had been strangers. Now they were sharing their most advanced technologies, their very consciousness. "Doctor," Nikolai's voice came through her calm, urgent but controlled. "We're detecting unusual activity in the Carina sector. The Void Swarm, they're moving faster than we anticipated." Amara's hands flew over the controls, accelerating the integration sequence safely. "How long do we have?" "Weeks, not months," he replied grimly. "Is Lieutenant Shaw's integration proceeding as planned?" "Yes, and her genetic markers are even stronger than yours were. She should complete the process in record time." "Good. We're going to need every enhanced operator we can get. The Swarm Scout elements, they're not just probing our defenses. They're learning, adapting. This isn't going to be like any war humanity has ever fought." As if in response to his words, the crystalline matrices throughout the lab pulsed with intense light. Through her own limited interface, Amara felt the ripple of concern pass through the Kryvak's collective consciousness. The enemy was approaching faster than anyone had predicted, and their combined forces were not yet ready. But watching Rena's transformation proceed, seeing the determination in her face even through the neural induction trance, Amara felt a surge of hope. Together, humans and Kryvaks were creating something unprecedented, a true fusion of their greatest strengths. The seeds of alliance had been planted. Now they would see what grew from them in the crucible of war. The integrated command center aboard the EDF Hyperion hummed with crystalline energy as Commander Nikolai Volkov studied the tactical display. The holographic map showed the advancing tendrils of the Void Swarm, their impossible geometries twisting through normal space like living darkness. Third Fleet reports successful integration of Kryvak's weapon systems, Lieutenant Shaw announced, her newly enhanced consciousness interfacing directly with the ship's crystalline matrix. Her eyes glowed faintly as she processed vast streams of data. Shield harmonics are at 98% efficiency. War Master Drex's massive form shifted slightly, his 4 eyes pulsing with concern. The swarm adapts quickly. Our ancestors fought them for decades before driving them back into hibernation. We must strike decisively. Agreed, Nikolai replied, his transformed consciousness reaching out through the ship's systems. Through the enhanced interface, he could feel the readiness of their combined fleet, human precision merged with Kryvak's power. Dr. Patel, status of the resonance weapon? Amara's hologram materialized beside them, her laboratory visible behind her. The prototype is ready for deployment. By combining human quantum mechanics with Kryvak's crystal technology, we've created something that could disrupt their hive-mind connection. But we'll only get one shot at this. The tactical display suddenly flared with new alerts. Lieutenant Shaw's eyes widened. Multiple dimensional ruptures detected. They're not waiting, the main force is arriving now. Through the command center's viewing portal, space itself seemed to tear open. The void swarm emerged like a nightmare-given form, vast organic ships that absorbed light itself, tentacles of living darkness stretching across thousands of kilometers. All ships, battle positions, Nikolai commanded, his enhanced voice carrying through both conventional comms and the crystalline network. Remember your training. Human tactical systems linked with Kryvak's power matrices. We hit them with everything we've got. The first wave of the swarm struck their defensive line like a tsunami of darkness. Enhanced human pilots flew in perfect formation with Kryvak's warriors, their combined technology creating shields that actually held against the cosmic horror's assault. They're probing for weaknesses, Drex observed, his massive hands dancing across the crystalline controls. But they've never encountered our peoples fighting as one. Feel their confusion. Through his enhanced senses, Nikolai could indeed feel the swarm's collective consciousness reacting with something like surprise. For millennia, they had consumed species one by one. The idea of different races standing together, their technologies and minds merged into something new, was outside their experience. Multiple breaches in Sector 7. Lieutenant Shaw reported, her consciousness flowing through the fleet's network. They're adapting to our shield frequencies. Channel power to the resonance weapon, Nikolai ordered. Dr. Patel, we need that disruption field now. Amara's hands flew across her controls, the prototype weapon humming to life. Charging to full power. Remember, we'll only get one shot at their central node. The targeting has to be perfect. The battle raged across space, human precision and Kryvak's power working in harmony. Enhanced pilots flew impossible maneuvers, their minds linked with their ships through the crystalline matrices. Where the swarm had expected to find easy prey, they instead met a unified force that fought with both fury and calculation. Central node detected. Lieutenant Shaw's voice carried triumph. They're trying to shield it, but I can see the pattern now. Transmitting targeting data. Nikolai felt the resonance weapon power up through his enhanced connection, the combined science of two species reaching for something that had never been attempted. All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates. Give Dr. Patel the opening she needs. The unified fleet moved like a single organism, human and Kryvak's ships creating patterns of fire that forced the swarm to react. For a crucial moment, their central node was exposed. Now! Nikolai commanded. The resonance weapon fired, its beam carrying harmonics that existed in dimensions beyond normal space. Through their enhanced senses, every integrated crew member felt the swarm's collective consciousness scream as the disruption field took hold. Direct hit. Amara's voice carried equal parts excitement and scientific fascination. The harmonic resonance is cascading through their neural network. Their hive-mind connection is destabilizing. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Without their central coordination, the swarm ships began to move erratically. Some turned on each other, while others attempted to retreat through their dimensional ruptures. Press the advantage, Drex urged, his eyes blazing. While they're confused and divided. The combined fleet surged forward, human tactical brilliance merging with Kryvak's power to devastating effect. Ship after ship of the mighty swarm fell to their unified assault. As the battle turned decisively in their favor, Nikolai felt something profound through his enhanced connection, not just victory, but vindication. The partnership between humans and Kryvaks had created something greater than either species alone could have achieved. They're retreating, Lieutenant Shaw reported, her glowing eyes tracking the swarm's desperate withdrawal. The remaining ships are falling back through their ruptures. Let them run, Drex rumbled with satisfaction. Let them carry word to any others of their kind. This sector is protected by something they've never encountered before, unity. As the last of the swarm disappeared into their dimensional tiers, Nikolai looked around the command center. Human and Kryvak's crew worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the heat of battle. They had faced humanity's greatest challenge together and emerged stronger. Begin damage assessment, he ordered, but allowed himself a small smile. And prepare for celebration. Today, we've written a new chapter in both our histories. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the dawn of a new era, one where humanity's future was bound together with their newfound allies in ways no one could have predicted.